In today's video, I'm going to show you how to process a couple of images into a single SVG file. And the images that we're going to use are from this post by Jen Beck, who asked if Inkscape could process a file like this. So what we're going to do is click on the first image, right click, and do copy image. We're going to open up Inkscape. Now I have changed my Inkscape parameters. So if you go into File Document Properties, I have changed my page and my desk colors to be something other than the standard that comes up. And I've changed my format to US letter display units in inches, 8.5 by 11 inches. That's just my preference. But anyhow, once you've got yours set up, you're going to come in here and do a paste. And now we have one of the two images. Then we'll go back in here and pick up our second image, which is this one. And again, we'll copy the image, come back into Inkscape and paste it. Now the next step is to convert this by using Path Trace Bitmap. And you have a couple different ways of doing this, but because this is a colored image, I'm going to use the multicolor tab over here, and I'm going to go from brightness steps to colors. And we don't need 8 colors, so I'm going to back this down to 2 and see what it looks like. And actually, I think 3 is sufficient. And so I think we'll just go ahead and apply that. Now, when you apply the bitmap trace, the trace is on top of the original image. So if you drag this down, this is the path file. And this one back here is the original image. And you can tell when you click on the original image, it shows up in the preview pane over here. We don't want the original image, so we're going to get rid of that. And all we're interested in is the path file. We're going to do the same thing with this one. So we're going to click on that and go to Path Trace Bitmap. Select Multicolor Colors and select 3 colors. And that should be sufficient. And we will just do an apply on that. And the same thing, the top layer is the path, and the bottom layer is the original image, which we no longer need. So now I have 2 sets of files. I want to go into the Layers panel. So we go to Layers and Objects. And this is Inkscape version 1.2, and for some reason, it does not create the layers when you do a bitmap trace, even though they are in layers now. But if you click on the node tool, which is this second tool down, and you click on your one of your images, the paths will show up over here in the layers panel. So if I click on the little eyeball, I can turn these layers on and off individually. So what I want to do is turn off the layers, each one of them, and then I'm going to turn them on one at a time. And I see, well, I want to keep this layer, but I don't really want this line that's down here at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and select that path, and then I'm going to select by holding my left mouse key down and dragging around this part of the image, and then I can hit the delete key on my keyboard and get rid of that. So now I have one of the 3 colors that I'm interested in. I'll turn that one off, and we'll go back and turn on the middle layer. Now this one here, once I've selected it, I also want to get rid of this stuff along the bottom. So in order to see it a little better, I'm going to zoom in on it. Then I'm going to select the nodes tool, and then I'm going to put my rubber band around it so that I select everything except the stuff that's on top and delete that. So now I've got 2 layers. The third layer is this layer. Now, because uh, I can use this as a solid layer where I don't really have to cut it, I'm just going to select this layer and delete all of the textual portions of that layer. And also, I want that layer to be at the bottom. So I'm going to go over here and select move down and move it to the bottom. Now I see I still have some stuff here that's showing up, and that is in this layer here. So I'm going to select this layer, and I see that I've still got some stuff to remove. There we go. And now let's turn everything back on. And there is half of our image. Now we do have a registration mark over here. Not a registration mark, but a trademark or registered copyright. That's what word I'm grasping for here. So let's just go ahead and remove that. And then I press the number 4 key on my keyboard to enlarge this. And so everything there is ready to go. Now the next one is this image over here. It also has some copyright or registration. I guess it's a copyright symbol in it. And we can go ahead and remove that as well. Because that's on a couple different layers, we have to do that a few different times. Okay. So what I want to do with this particular layer and these particular graphics is I want to turn everything off and see what these layers look like. So here's our first layer, and that's got black Northland fishing tackle. We're going to want to keep that as is. This next layer has got Northland with fishing tackle, but it's got a lot of artifacts around it, and that needs to be cleaned up. I'm going to show you how to do that in a moment. And of course, this third layer, oops, we got this third layer down here is the solid yellow, but we don't need, this could be a solid yellow. It doesn't have to have the words in it. So I'm going to turn off everything except the yellow layer, and I'm going to just rubber band around this and delete all of this. So now I just have a solid background. And then we're going to turn on this layer, and I'm going to do something here just to make this easier to work with. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a layer. It's going to add a layer 2 on top of layer 1. And I'm going to move, which one was it? It's this one here. I want to move this path. Where is it? Path. I want to move this to layer 2. So now that I have that path up on layer 2, I'm going to go up here to path break apart. And that's going to break this image into a lot of different pieces. And what I'm going to do from this point is select just the pieces I want. And I'm going to make a union out of that. So I'm going to do path, union, and now I have Northland as a single file. And if I delete that, or move that rather, I see that down here I have some stuff that goes in between. So this is the center part of the circle. And what I want to do is select those three pieces and make a union out of those. I'm also going to change the color so that those are easier to see. And so now basically I have two paths that I'm interested in. This path here and this other path. So I'm going to go ahead and move this down. I'm just choosing the arrows key on my keyboard. And I actually, well, let's put this up here and do it this way. Let's select this layer and move it up. Now I want it to be on top. So if I go down in my layers panel till I find the one that's highlighted, I'm going to move that up a layer. So now it's on top of the other lettering here. And now I'm just going to move that up. Till it's approximately where it should be. So what I'm going to do next is I don't need any of this part here. So I'm going to delete that and delete all of this. So now we just have the two paths in layer 2. I'm going to move them down just a little bit, select them both and move them down. And then I'm going to go to this layer here and I'm going to do a path break apart. And then I am going to select this path. And let's take a look here and see. There's that path. There's that path. And there's our Northland. Now I thought this had okay. Anyhow, I think we've got what we need here. Let me check this again. That's one. All right. So I didn't want to break apart. So let's go back. I'm just going to undo that. I just want these two paths and I want to move them back into layer 1. Okay, so now that we have layer 1, this is looks like these here are that portion. And I'm missing something. I'm missing the yellow background. So what I want to do now with this is just select everything and go up here and do a path union. Nope, I don't want to do that. Not a path union, my mistake. I want to do a path difference. Okay. And the next thing I want to do is just create a rectangle in yellow, and I want it to move underneath Northland. And I'm missing something. I'm missing the black outline. And I'm not sure what happened to that. So um, probably because I moved everything to layer 2 and I deleted that in the process. So sometimes we make mistakes. That's no problem. We're just going to go back in here and copy this image again. Come back in Inkscape and we'll move down a little bit and paste it. There's our image. Then we're going to do path, trace bitmap, apply, get rid of the original. And then we're going to do a path, break apart. Now, select let's select all of this, do a path, break apart. And now we have what we need over here. So I'm going to select, I want to select this and move that, hopefully. Let's go over into our layer panel again. Oh boy, we've added all of these layers. I really don't want to do this because I'm going to mess up layer 1. Let's just undo all that. Let's take this which is this. I think it's this. Oh, is it this path? Now I got to figure out which one it is. So it's this group. I want to move that group to layer 2. Okay, so we're not interested in the red. We've already got that path. What we are interested in, however, is the black. The Northland fishing tackle, this portion right here. So I'm going to select all of this and I'm going to go to Path Union. And let's see what we got here. Okay, I'm just going to delete this path. I don't need this. And which path is this? That's the yellow. I don't need that. So what I really want is the black, and I want to move that back to layer 1. And then we're just going to select that and move it back up to the top. And right now I'm snapping is turned on. So if you come up here and disable snapping, then you can move this in smaller increments. So let me just go in here and bring that up a little bit. And then we're just going to move that with our with our mouse up and down arrow keys. And what we have at this point is a little bit of an issue of a problem because the original image has got around here this is black and we've got some yellow showing through here that doesn't belong there. And I believe, let's make sure that this is the yellow. That is the yellow. Okay. So what I really want to do is um, select this layer, go into the nodes tool, zoom in on this, select my nodes tool again, and move these nodes in so that they are up here like so. And then we bring them in just like that. Again, there we go. So we've got that corrected. We can go over here to the A and let's do the same thing with it. Let's bring that up, and then let's curve that in. We'll do the same thing over here. Bring those nodes over. Maybe tweak it just a little bit more. No, that's probably about right. Now let's go back and see what we have. Let's go ahead and turn our yellow layer back on now. And it looks like that's pretty much what we got. It looks like we still got just a shade bit of yellow showing down here. So let's go back to this layer again, select our nodes tool, and bump that just a little bit. And you gotta be careful if you move the nodes, you can go too far. There we, oops. Looks like we have a little bit going on here. Let's see if we can tuck that in and tuck that in. And it looks like we still got a little bit of an issue here. Let's tuck that in. And let's go back and see what we have. So that looks pretty good. We do have this copyright symbol over here in the corner. And we don't really need that. It's not a full copyright. You can do that in Design Space. And I see we've got just a smidget of problems here. We'll bring that black down. We'll bring this up just a bit. Oh, no, no, no. Let's don't do that. There you go. And again, we're just a smidget off. Probably not enough to make a bit of difference, but we'll fix it. So there you go. We've got that. And now we can turn on, well, let's go, I want to press the number 4 key on my keyboard. And this group here has got some things turned off. I want to make sure everything is turned on. I want um, these 3 layers here to be on top. So I'm not sure if they are currently. Let's select them all and see. Yep, we are. And so if I understood the original drawing correctly, that the client was preferring here, you can't see the edges here, so I don't know for sure, but it appears to me these are the original sizes. So this is exactly what should be there. And all we have to do now is save the file. We're going to save this file as not as an Inkscape SVG, but just a plain SVG. I'm going to put this into here, and I'm going to call this Northland number 2. And I'm going to save that file. And now we're all ready to bring that into Inkscape, into Design Space, excuse me. So we're going to create a new project. We'll go over to Upload. Now you see I've already got one in here. I'm going to delete that one. I'll go to Upload the image. I'll go to Browse, and I'll select Northland 2. And these are separate images, so when they're layered, you can layer them one on top of the other, because I didn't group them. You can add that to the canvas. And then you can ungroup them here. And then you could go group these. And then you could move them up on top if you wanted to see how that's going to look together. And now you have all of the layers in your layers panel so that you can cut these out individually. So if I turn everything off, and then I go through the layers one at a time, there's one layer. There's another layer. There's another layer. So this would be your base layer. And then you would add this on top, and then this on top of that. Over here, this is your lettering. And there's the additional cut file for it, and then the background. And that is how you do it. So if you have any questions, be sure to write to me at larryfortna@gmail.com. Well, let's just go ahead and put that in there. And I'd be more than happy to answer your questions. Thank you for stopping by.